Today in our 2017 Toyota Corolla IM, we will be having a look at and installing the Roadmaster EZ5 base plate kit with removable arms, part number RM-521195-5. All right, here's what our base plate looks like installed. As you can see, it's a very nice clean look with our receiver tubes of the arms recessed behind our grill opening. The only thing that's going to stick out is our actual safety chain attachment points here for hooking up our safety cables between our RV and the Corolla when we're flat towing it. We have our nice 2-prong bracket here for attaching any electrical connection that we may be using. And then we have our breakaway switch bracket. As you can see, we already mounted our breakaway switch on there when we had the fascia off. The way these removable arms work, you'll want to make sure this tab here is horizontal. You insert it. And you'll twist it. When you do this, you want to make sure that the pin is on the inside as well as this tab here. This tab is where you can insert your padlock to lock your tow bar onto your base plate. Our other side is the exact same way. Now what's great about this base plate compared to other ones on the market, when we've arrived at our destination with our RV and we've unhooked from it, we can simply pull this pin, twist our arms on out, and we have a nice clean look on the front of our vehicle. It doesn't even look like it's been set up to be flat towed. Now what I really like about this base plate compared to others on the market, not only does it give us a great clean look on our vehicle, but there is no drilling required on the vehicle at all in order to install it. It utilizes existing well nut locations on the vehicle and replaces the factory bumper support. Now that we've gone over some features, we'll show you how to get it installed. Okay, to begin our installation, we have our hood open. We look at the front of our fascia here at the top. We'll find 3 fasteners we need to remove. So here's one at our driver's side corner, a plastic fastener at our passenger side corner, and in the very middle, right behind your Toyota emblem, you can find a 10mm bolt. The way our plastic fasteners work, so you can use a flathead screwdriver or a trim panel tool, pop up the center section, grab it, pull it out. Okay, now we have 2 fasteners we need to remove on each side in our wheel wells. From whatever we do at this point forward on one side, we're going to repeat the exact same process on the other side. Right here at the very top, where our fascia meets our fender, we have a very, very small push pin fastener. This one's so small, you can just grab it with your fingernails, pull out the center section, pull it on out. Our one here is a little bit different. We use a flathead screwdriver, rotate it 90 degrees, and then pull it off our fascia. All right, each side underneath our vehicle, we'll have 6 10mm screws that we need to remove. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now with an extra set of hands, we'll grab the corners of our fascia by our fender, pull it out. If our vehicle has fog lights, we'll need to disconnect them while we pull the fascia off. And we'll set this aside where it won't get damaged. We need to remove our headlights. We have 2 10mm bolts on the top, and then a third one here at the side. So I'll remove these bolts. Now we need to pry up here on the corner to release this. Then we'll grab the headlight assembly and pull it away from the vehicle. Now we'll unplug the wiring harness from the headlight with 2 plugs. Just pushing on this gray tab here and the gray connector. Pull back. And this black tab on the black connector. And then we'll separate the wiring harness from the assembly by using our trim panel tool or a flathead screwdriver. We'll set these aside. And here are the two tabs I was talking about. These are the tabs you need to press on to release those connectors. All right, now we need to unclip the wiring harness from our bumper beam for our horn. We have 4 plastic clips that hold it in place. One by the horn, one in the middle, one here towards the end on the driver's side, and the 4th one's on the back side. Let's use our trim panel tool to pop these loose. All right, now on each side of our bumper beam, we have 4 14mm bolts that hold it in place. We have 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. We'll remove these. Make sure we save the bolts because we will reuse them. Okay, with the bolts out, we can lift up on it, set it aside. We will not be reinstalling it. Yeah, I went ahead and marked off, according to the instructions on our air deflector here, the area we need to trim off. It's the same on both sides. So we'll just follow the guide and trim it off. I'm using a pair of tin snips. You could use a sharp utility knife or a rotary tool. All right, so we put some red Loctite on our factory bolts that we removed. We'll be putting red Loctite on all of our bolts that we're using from this point forward. We have Loctite available on our website if you need to purchase some. Okay, now with an extra set of hands, we'll take our base plate and use our factory bolts that we removed to secure it into the 4 holes. All right, now that we got all 4 of our bolts started by hand on each side, we'll let them sit for right now. We'll get our other brackets in place. Now we'll remove our center section here of our fascia support. It's held in place with several of our 10mm bolts. We'll just remove these from both sides. Okay, now with our fascia support panel out of the way, we have 2 17mm bolts on each side. We'll remove these one at a time. So do the driver's side first, then after you have the new ones back in place, you can do the passenger side. Okay, now we'll take our new 12mm bolts, drop on our lock washers. We'll ensure that we have our Loctite on them. Now we'll take our base plate support bracket, get it in position. We'll install our new bolts. Now we'll take our short 1/2-inch bolt with the Loctite on it, take our base plate support bracket, go to our base plate, put a lock washer on, followed by our nut. Now that we have all of our hardware in place, we can start to tighten everything down. Start with our 14mm bolts here first. Now we'll torque all of our bolts to the amount specified in the instructions. We went ahead and zip tied up the wiring harness for our horn to the base plate itself with the included zip tie. This way it doesn't dangle below our fascia. Now we'll make sure we put our headlights back in. Now's a good time while we have the fascia off before we put it back on to run any wiring or breakaway switches we're going to be using if we're using a towed vehicle lighting system. Now we can hold up our fascia, mark it accordingly, and trim it out so it slides up over our base plate. So we marked out according to the instructions and from our test fit where we're going to need to trim. So use a pair of cutters, side cutters, rotary tool, whatever you have. All right, now that we have our fascia all trimmed out, we'll go ahead and reinstall it on the vehicle. All right, with our fascia back in place, we'll reinstall all the fasteners and all the underbody panels we removed. And that completes our look at and installation of the Roadmaster EZ5 base plate kit with removable arms, part number RM-521195-5 on our 2017 Toyota Corolla IM.
Click the link below to shop, learn more, or visit us at etrailer.com.